Jake was having another ordinary Tuesday morning at the Ocean Research Station. He'd been working there for 3 years now, studying sea life and water patterns. Most days were pretty quiet, just him, his equipment, and the endless blue water, stretching out in every direction. He was checking his underwater cameras when something caught his eye. About 50 feet from the station, he saw what looked like a person floating in the water. At first, he thought it might be debris or seaweed, but then he saw an arm move weakly. "Oh no," Jake said to himself, dropping his tablet and running to the edge of the platform. Someone was definitely drowning out there. Without thinking twice, Jake jumped into the water. He was a strong swimmer, had to be for this job, and he reached the person quickly. It was a young woman, and she wasn't moving much. Her eyes were closed, and she seemed to be sinking. Jake grabbed her round the waist and started swimming back to the station. Something felt different about her, though he couldn't put his finger on what. Her skin had a strange, soft glow to it, almost like she was wearing some kind of makeup that shimmered in the sunlight. Her hair was longer than any he'd ever seen, flowing behind them like silk. Getting her onto the platform took all his strength. She was unconscious, and Jake could see she wasn't breathing properly. He'd taken first aid classes, so he knew what to do. He tilted her head back, checked her airway, and started giving her rescue breaths. But something weird happened. When Jake breathed into her lungs, she didn't respond the way people usually did. Instead, her skin started glowing brighter, and she seemed to be absorbing not just the air, but something else, like the moisture from his breath was feeding her somehow. After about 30 seconds, her eyes suddenly opened. And what eyes they were! Jake had never seen anything like them. They were bright purple. Not the kind of purple you see in colored contacts, but a deep, natural violet that seemed to have tiny stars floating in them. She looked right at Jake, and he felt like she was seeing straight into his soul. Then she did something that made his heart skip a beat. She smiled, not just a regular smile, but one filled with so much gratitude and warmth that Jake felt his cheeks getting red. The woman sat up slowly, water dripping from her hair. She opened her mouth and spoke, but the words weren't in any language Jake had ever heard. It sounded musical, like she was almost singing. The strange thing was, even though he couldn't understand the words, he could somehow feel what she meant. She was thanking him. "Are you okay?" Jake asked, though he was pretty sure she wouldn't understand him. "Do you need help? Are you hurt?" She tilted her head to one side, studying his face. Then she reached out and gently touched his cheek with her fingertips. Her touch was cool and smooth, but it sent a warm feeling through Jake's whole body. She said something else in her musical language, and this time she pointed to herself, then to Jake, then placed her hand over her heart. "I don't understand," Jake said softly, "but you're safe now." The woman seemed to be learning just by listening to him. She repeated the word "safe" slowly, as if testing how it felt in her mouth. Then she said Jake after hearing him say his own name. Her pronunciation was perfect, which was strange since she'd only heard it once. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, Jake's research partner, came running out of the lab building. She'd heard the splash and commotion from inside. When she saw Jake sitting with the mysterious woman, her scientist brain immediately kicked into gear. "Jake, what happened? Who's this?" Lisa asked, kneeling down beside them. "I found her drowning," Jake explained. "But Lisa, there's something different about her. Look at her skin, her eyes. And she's learning English incredibly fast," Lisa noticed. It too. In the few minutes they'd been talking, the woman had picked up several words and was trying to repeat them. She pointed to herself and said Zara in that same musical tone. "Zara," Jake repeated, and her face lit up like he'd just given her the best gift in the world. Over the next few hours, Zara's English improved so quickly it was almost scary. By evening, she could have simple conversations, though she spoke in a very formal, old-fashioned way that reminded Jake of how people talked in old movies. "You saved Zara from the deep waters," she said to Jake as the sun was setting. "You gave Zara life breath. This makes you Zara's chosen one. Your chosen one." Jake asked, confused. "What does that mean?" Zara looked surprised that he didn't Understand, when warrior saves princess from drowning, when warrior gives life breath, they become bonded. You are Zara's life mate now. This is the old law. Jake's eyes went wide. Wait, what? Life mate? Like, married? Yes, Zara said simply, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. We had bonding ceremony when you breathed life into Zara. Now we are one spirit. To bodies, Lisa, who had been listening to this exchange, started laughing nervously. Jake, I think there might be some cultural differences we need to work through here. But Zara wasn't done explaining. Zara is princess of the water people. Father is great king of all the deep oceans. You proved worthy by risking life for Zara's life. Now you must come meet father, pass the trials, become true prince. Jake felt dizzy. An hour ago, his biggest worry was whether his underwater cameras were working properly. Now he was apparently engaged to an alien princess who thought they were married because he'd given her CPR. As night fell, things got even more interesting. Jake showed Zara to the guest room where she could rest. But she looked confused and a little hurt when he started to leave. Where does Chosen One go? She asked. Bonded pairs stay together always. Well, normally, humans need to get to know each other first before they, stay together, Jake explained, feeling his face turn red again. Zara looked genuinely puzzled. But we are already bonded. Zara knows Jake's heart through the life breath sharing. Jake knows Zara's spirit through the saving act. What more is there to know? When Jake still seemed hesitant, Zara's purple eyes filled with what looked like tears. She spoke quietly in her own language, and even without understanding the words, Jake could tell she felt rejected. Hey, it's okay, Jake said quickly. I'm not going anywhere. I just live in a different room. That's all. It's a human custom. To make her feel better, Jake gave her his favorite jacket, an old blue one he'd worn for years. Zara took it like he'd handed her a precious treasure. She held it close to her face, breathing in his scent, and her whole face glowed with happiness. Zara, we'll keep Chosen One's covering close to heart, she said. We'll dream of Chosen One until sun returns. As Jake walked to his own room, he could hear Zara singing softly in her musical language. The song was beautiful and haunting, and somehow he knew she was singing about him, about their bonding ceremony, and about a future together that he'd accidentally committed to by simply trying to save someone's life. He lay awake most of the night, staring at the ceiling and wondering what he'd gotten himself into. But every time he thought about Zara's grateful smile, or the way her eyes sparkled when she looked at him, or how she'd called him her chosen one with such pure joy, he couldn't bring himself to regret jumping into that water to save her. Little did Jake know, this was just the beginning of the most incredible adventure of his life. 3 days had passed since Jake rescued Zara from the ocean, and his life had completely turned upside down. Every morning, he woke up to find Zara waiting outside his door with a bright smile and a cheerful good morning. Chosen One, she'd somehow learned to make coffee using seaweed and ocean plants, and surprisingly, it tasted amazing. You don't have to wait for me every morning, Jake told her as they sat eating breakfast together. You can explore the station, rest, do whatever you want. Zara looked confused. But bonded pairs stay together. Zara must learn Chosen One's daily customs to be good life mate. There was that phrase again, life mate. Jake still couldn't wrap his head around it. But watching Zara's eager face as she tried to understand human customs made his heart do funny things. What amazed Jake most was how incredibly smart Zara was. She didn't just learn English words, she understood complex ideas after hearing them. Once, when Jake explained his research about ocean temperatures and fish migration patterns, Zara listened carefully and then shared knowledge that blew his mind. In Zara's home waters, the coral cities sing when fish families travel, she explained. Different songs for different seasons. The elder fish teach young ones the safe paths using color patterns. And water vibrations, coral cities? Jake asked. Fascinated. You mean like coral reefs? Much bigger, Zara said, her eyes lighting up. Zara's people build with living coral. Cities grow and change with the seasons. When Zara was small, she learned to speak with coral minds. help them grow strong and beautiful. Jake realized Zara wasn't just some lost person from another country. She was from somewhere completely different, somewhere not on Earth at all. Doctor Lisa was equally amazed when she ran tests on the water samples Zara had touched. Jake, this is impossible. The water she's touched has completely different mineral content. It's like she can change the chemical makeup just by being near it. Zara makes water happy. Zara explained simply when Lisa asked her about it. Sad. Water makes sea creatures sick. Happy water helps them grow strong. But how do you do it? Lisa pressed. Zara thought for a moment, trying to find the right words. It's like singing, but with heart instead of voice. Zara feels what water needs. Gives it healing energy. Jake started bringing Zara with him when he checked his research equipment. She had a natural understanding of ocean life that amazed him. She could predict where fish would be, when dolphins would visit, and which areas of water were healthiest just by looking at them. There, Zara pointed to a spot about 20 feet from the station. Big family of silverfish will come when sun reaches middle sky. They travel to warmer waters for baby making time. Sure enough, at exactly noon, a huge school of fish appeared right where Zara had predicted. Jake's equipment confirmed they were heading south for breeding season. How did you know that? Jake asked. Water tells Zara many things, she said. Fish leave traces in water, fear traces, happy traces, family traces. It's easy to read if you know how. But it wasn't just her knowledge that impressed Jake. Zara seemed genuinely interested in everything he did. She organized his messy research, notes with perfect efficiency, asked thoughtful questions about his work, and even helped him fix equipment using techniques he'd never seen before. Chosen One works very hard to protect ocean creatures. Zara observed one afternoon as Jake analyzed water samples. This shows good heart. Zara's father will be pleased. Your father. Jake looked up from his microscope. You've mentioned him before. Where exactly are you from, Zara? Zara's expression became more serious. Zara is Princess of Nerion, the deep water world. Father rules all the ocean kingdoms. Zara was traveling to Earth waters when ship had problems, fell into your ocean, nearly drowned. Another planet? Jake felt his head spinning again. You're from another planet, yes. Nerion is biggest, most beautiful oceans in all the star systems. But Zara was running away. Her voice became sad. Father wanted Zara to marry cruel prince from neighboring world. Prince Kral is mean. Cares only for power. Zara could not marry someone with dark heart. Jake felt a surge of anger at the thought of anyone forcing Zara into an unwanted marriage. So you ran away. Zara took small travel ship, tried to reach safe planet, but ship broke. Crashed in your waters. Would have died if Chosen One had not saved Zara's life. And because I saved you, now we're supposedly married by your planet's laws? Zara nodded seriously. Is ancient law. When someone risks life to save royal family member from drowning, they prove worthy heart, the life. Breath sharing creates spiritual bond that cannot be broken. But Zara, Jake said gently, I didn't know about your laws when I saved you. I would have saved anyone who was drowning. That's just what humans do. Zara looked surprised. Chosen One would risk life for stranger. Of course, it's the right thing to do. This seemed to impress Zara even more. This proves Chosen One has noble spirit. Many beings would not risk danger for unknown person. That evening, as they watched the sunset together, Zara became quiet and thoughtful. Is Chosen One unhappy about bonding? She asked softly. Zara knows human customs are different. If Jake wishes to break bond, Zara will understand. Jake looked at her sad purple eyes and felt his heart tighten. Over the past 3 days, he'd grown to really care about this strange, wonderful woman. She was kind, brilliant, funny, and she looked at him like he was the most important person in the universe. I'm not unhappy, Jake said honestly. I'm just confused. This is all very new to me. Zara smiled hopefully. Zara can teach Chosen One about bonding customs. Can learn human customs too. Will be good for both. Just then, Lisa came running out of the lab, looking excited and worried at the same time. Jake, Zara, you need to see this, she called. There's something rising from the ocean about a mile out. something big. They all rushed to the observation deck and looked out over the water. In the distance, Jake could see a strange blue-green glow under the waves, getting brighter and closer. Zara gasped and clapped her hands together. Is Nerian's search vessel? Father's warriors come looking for Zara. Your people are here? Jake asked, not sure if he should be excited or terrified. Yes. Now Chosen One can meet Captain Vexstar, prove worthiness to Zara's family. Will be wonderful. Zara was practically bouncing with excitement. Jake watched the mysterious glow getting closer to their station. Tomorrow, he would meet actual aliens. Tomorrow, he might have to prove he was worthy to marry a princess from another planet. Tomorrow, his quiet life as an ocean researcher would officially be over forever. But looking at Zara's happy face, Jake realized he was actually looking forward to it. The alien ship broke through the ocean surface just as the sun was setting. Jake had never seen anything like it. The vessel looked like it was made from living coral and seashells, glowing with soft blue and green lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Oh wow, Lisa whispered, taking pictures with her camera. This is going to change everything we know about life in the universe. Zara was practically vibrating with excitement beside Jake. Captain Vexstar comes. He is Father's most trusted warrior, very wise and strong. He will test Chosen One's worthiness. Test my worthiness. Jake's stomach dropped. What kind of test? Before Zara could answer, the water around the ship began to bubble and foam. A figure emerged from the depths, walking across the water's surface like it was solid ground. Jake rubbed his eyes, sure he was seeing things, but the figure kept walking. Toward the research station. Captain Vexstar was nothing like Jake had expected. He was tall and muscular, with the same purple eyes as Zara, but much more intense. His skin had a silver blue tint and was covered in glowing tattoos that moved and shifted like living things. Instead of hair, he had what looked like flowing water that cascaded down his shoulders. Gills opened and closed along his neck as he breathed both air and the moisture around him. Princess Zara, Vexstar said in perfect English, his voice deep and commanding. Your father has been very worried. The entire royal fleet is searching for you, Captain Vexstar. Zara bowed respectfully, then gestured toward Jake. This is Chosen One who saved Zara's life. Jake of the surface world. Vexstar turned those intense purple eyes on Jake, and Jake felt like he was being scanned by some kind of advanced computer. The captain walked in a slow circle around him, studying him from every angle. So, Vexstar said finally, this is the surface dweller who dares to claim bonding with our princess. Actually, Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady, I didn't know about the bonding thing when I saved her. I just saw someone drowning in silence. Vexstar interrupted, your intentions matter not. You performed the life-saving ritual. You shared breath with royalty. By ancient law, you are now bound to Princess Zara. But, his eyes narrowed, you must prove you are worthy of such honor. Jake felt a surge of irritation. Look, I don't know what your customs are, but where I come from, we don't just force people into marriage because of some old law. Vexstar raised an eyebrow, and Jake saw something that might have been approval flash in his eyes. You dare to challenge me, surface dweller. I'm not challenging you, Jake said firmly. I'm just saying that if Zara wants to be with me, it should be her choice, not because some law says she has to be. Zara stepped between them, looking worried. Please, Captain Vexstar, Jake does not understand our ways yet. He has good heart, just needs time to learn. Indeed, Vexstar said thoughtfully. But time is something we may not have. Princess, you should know that your escape has caused complications. What kind of complications? Zara asked, though. Jake could tell from her expression that she already knew it was bad news. Prince Crow was furious when you disappeared. He has declared your actions an insult to his honor and has threatened war against Nerian unless you return to marry him. Immediately, Zara's face went pale. War. But the people, thousands of lives hang in the balance. Vexstar confirmed. Your father sent me to find you and bring you home before Kroll's patience runs out. Completely, Jake felt anger rising in his chest. So, You're going to force her to marry someone she doesn't want to marry just to avoid a fight? You do not understand the complexities of interplanetary politics, surface dweller. Vex_Tar replied coolly. Maybe not, Jake said, stepping closer to Zara protectively. But I understand that forcing someone into marriage is wrong, no matter what planet you're from. Vexstar studied Jake for a long moment. Then something unexpected happened. He smiled. Interesting. You defend her even when you barely know her, even when doing so might bring danger to yourself. Of course I do, Jake said without hesitation. She's amazing. She's brilliant and kind, and she doesn't deserve to be treated like a bargaining chip. And what if I told you, Vexstar continued, that the only way to save her from this unwanted marriage is for you to prove yourself worthy through the ancient trials? Trials that could result in your death. Jake felt his mouth go dry, but he looked at Zara's frightened face and made his decision. Then I guess I better pass. Those trials, Vex_Tar nodded approvingly. Very well. The trials begin now. First trial, wisdom. You must demonstrate knowledge of the ocean depths and the creatures within them. Jake felt a bit of relief. This was something he actually knew about. For the next hour, Vex_Tar asked him detailed questions about marine ecosystems, ocean currents, and sea life behavior. Jake answered everything confidently, even teaching the captain a few things about Earth's oceans that surprised him. Impressive, Vex_Tar admitted. You know the waters well. Second trial, courage. You must retrieve the coral of truth from the deep caves beneath this station. The caves are dangerous, with strong currents and sharp rocks. Jake looked down at the dark water around their station. He'd explored the underwater caves before during his research, but never at night, and never while trying to find some mysterious coral. I'll go with him, Zara said quickly. No, Vex_Tar shook his head. He must prove his courage alone. Princess, you will wait here. Jake put on his diving gear, his hand shaking slightly as he checked his equipment. Zara grabbed his arm before he jumped in. Be very careful, chosen one, she whispered. The coral of truth glows with white light, but there are dangerous creatures in those caves. If anything feels wrong, come back up immediately. Jake nodded and dove into the black water, swimming down toward the caves, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. He tried not to think about all the things that could go wrong. The current was stronger than usual, and he had to fight to stay on course. Inside the underwater cave system, Jake searched for nearly 20 minutes before he finally saw it, a piece of coral glowing with soft white light, just like Zara had described. But as he reached for it, something massive moved in the shadows behind him. Jake grabbed the coral and spun around to see a huge octopus, its tentacles spread wide and its eyes glowing angrily. For a moment, Jake panicked. Then he remembered what Zara had taught him about communicating with sea creatures instead of fleeing. Jake stayed calm and slowly extended the glowing coral toward the octopus. He tried to project peaceful thoughts the way Zara had shown him. To his amazement, the octopus paused, studied him, then slowly backed away into the shadows. Jake swam back to the surface as quickly as he could, his lungs burning. He climbed onto the platform and handed the coral of truth to Vex_Tar, who examined it carefully. How did you get past the guardian octopus? Vex_Tar asked. I tried to communicate with it peacefully, like Zara taught me. Jake gasped, still catching his breath. Vex_Tar looked at Zara, then back at Jake. You listen to her teachings and use wisdom instead of force. Good. Very good. Captain Vexstar looked pleased with Jake's performance in the first two trials, but his expression quickly became serious again. You have shown wisdom and courage, surface dweller. But now comes the most important trial of all, the trial of the heart. Jake dried off with a towel, still breathing hard from his underwater adventure. What does that mean exactly? It means, Vexstar said slowly, that you must choose between your own desires and what is best for Princess Zara and her people. Zara stepped forward, looking worried. Captain, what are you saying? Vexstar's glowing tattoos pulsed brighter. As he spoke, I have received urgent messages from King Nerian while you completed your trials. Jake, Prince Krill's patience has run out. He has begun attacking our outer colonies. 3 underwater cities have already been damaged and innocent. People are suffering. No, Zara whispered, her hands covering her mouth in horror. The prince demands that Princess Zara return within 2 days to complete their bonding ceremony. Vexstar continued. If she refuses, he will destroy every Nerian settlement until she agrees. Jake felt his stomach twist into knots. That's crazy. You can't let him blackmail you like that. We are a peaceful people, Vexstar explained. Our technology is advanced, but we are not warriors. Prince Krill's forces are brutal and destructive. Many will die if this war continues. Zara was crying now, tears flowing down her cheeks like tiny pearls. This is all Zara's fault. If Zara had just agreed to marry Prince Krall in the first place, none of this would be happening. Hey, no, Jake said firmly, putting his arms around her. This is not your fault. That prince is a bully, and bullies are responsible for their own actions. Vexstar watched this exchange carefully. There's another option, he said quietly. According to our ancient laws, if Princess Zara is truly bonded to another, she cannot be forced to marry Prince Krall. The bonding ceremony would be recognized by all Nerian courts. But Jake could hear there was a catch coming. But if Princess Zara chooses to complete the bonding with you, she will be banished from Nerian forever. Our laws are very strict about royal family members who bond with outsiders. She would lose her title, her family, her home, everything. Jake felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. So either Zara marries someone she hates, or she loses everything she's ever known. Those are the only choices, Vexstar confirmed. Jake spent the rest of the night walking around the research station, trying to figure out what to do. This was so much bigger than just his feelings for Zara. People were dying because of this crazy prince, and somehow Jake was right in the middle of it all. Around 3 in the morning, he found Zara sitting on the dock, looking out at the ocean. She'd been crying, and her usual glow seemed dimmer than normal. Can't sleep either, Jake asked, sitting down beside her. Zara has been thinking about home, she said softly. About father and friends and the coral gardens where Zara grew up. If Zara stays with Chosen One, we'll never see any of it again. Jake's heart broke hearing the sadness in her voice. Zara, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. She looked at him with those beautiful purple eyes. Zara will always be honest with Chosen One. Do you really want to be with me? Or do you just think you have to because of your culture's bonding laws? Zara was quiet for a long moment. When Zara first woke up after Chosen One saved her life, Zara felt gratitude and obligation. But these past days, watching Chosen One work and learn and care for ocean creatures, Zara's feelings have grown much deeper. What do you mean? Zara loves Chosen One's gentle heart, loves how Jake protects what he cares about, loves how Jake makes Zara laugh and feel safe and happy. She took his hand in hers. Zara chooses Jake not because of bonding law, but because Jake makes Zara's spirit sing. Jake felt warmth spread through his chest. I've fallen for you too. Zara, you're the most amazing person I've ever met. You're brilliant and kind, and you've made my life so much brighter in just a few days. They sat together in comfortable silence, holding hands and watching the stars reflect on the water. But Jake knew they still had an impossible decision to make. I can't let you give up everything for me, Jake said finally. Your family, your home, your people, that's who you are. And Jake cannot let innocent people suffer because of Zara's choices, Zara replied sadly. Just then, Dr. Lisa came running out of the research station, her tablet in her hand. Jake, Zara, you need to hear this. I've been monitoring communications from the Nerian ship, and I think I found something important. She showed them her tablet screen, which displayed a complex diagram. I've been analyzing the energy signatures from Vexstar's ship and comparing them to Jake's ocean research data. Look at this. The diagram showed disturbing patterns in the ocean's energy levels. According to these readings, Nerian's oceans are dying. The energy that powers their civilization is fading, and they probably only have a few years before their entire ecosystem collapses, Zara gasped. This cannot be true. Father would have told Zara about such danger. Maybe he was trying to protect you. Lisa suggested. But Jake, your research into ocean restoration techniques, some of these methods could potentially help save Nerian's waters. Jake studied the data carefully. His mind started racing with possibilities. Zara, what if there was a third option? What if instead of you being banished or forced into marriage, we could offer Nerian something they need even more than a political alliance? What do you mean? Environmental salvation, Jake said, getting excited. If their oceans are dying, Prince Krill's threats don't matter. Even if he conquers Nerian, he'll just be ruling over a dead planet. But if we can prove that my research and your knowledge of ocean healing could save their world. Zara's eyes began to glow brighter. Father would have to listen. Saving the oceans would be more important than any marriage alliance. Vexstar had been listening from the shadows. Now he stepped forward, looking thoughtful. This information about our dying oceans, how did you obtain it? Lisa explained her analysis while Jake outlined his restoration theories. Vexstar listened carefully, asking detailed questions that proved he understood the science behind their proposal. If what you say is true, Vexstar said slowly, then Princess Zara and her chosen one might offer Nerian something far more valuable than any political treaty. Exactly, Jake said. But we need to go to Nerian to prove it. We need to show your scientists and your king that our combined knowledge could actually save their oceans. Vexstar nodded. It is dangerous. If you fail, Princess Zara will still face banishment or forced marriage. And you, Jake, would be trapped on an alien world with no way home? Jake looked at Zara, seeing hope and fear battling in her expression. What do you think? Are you willing to risk everything on this plan? Zara stood up, her spine straight and her chin lifted with determination. Zara is willing to risk everything to save her people and stay with Chosen One. Let us go to Nerian and show them what love and knowledge can accomplish together. The journey to Nerian was like nothing Jake could have ever imagined. Vexstar's ship moved through underwater portals that bent space and time, traveling between worlds through channels that existed deep beneath the oceans. Jake felt like he was swimming through liquid starlight as they passed through dimensions he couldn't even begin to understand. Don't worry, Chosen One, Zara said, holding his hand as the ship twisted through another portal. The space between waters can feel strange to first-time travelers. During the 3-week journey, Jake and Zara spent every moment together, learning each other's languages and customs. Zara taught Jake how to communicate with the ship itself, which was actually a living creature that responded to thoughts and emotions. Jake showed Zara his research notes and explained his theories about ocean restoration in detail. On Earth, we use special bacteria to clean polluted water, Jake explained, showing her his data on his tablet. We also plant specific types of seaweed that absorb harmful chemicals. If Nerian's oceans are dying from energy depletion, we might be able to reverse the damage. Zara was fascinated by every detail. Nerian has healing coral that can purify water, but we never thought to combine it with surface world techniques. Together, our knowledge could create something completely new. When they finally arrived at Nerian, Jake's jaw dropped. The planet was covered in the most beautiful blue-green oceans he'd ever seen, with massive underwater cities that glowed like jewels beneath the waves. But as they got closer, Jake could see the problem. Large sections of the ocean looked dull and lifeless, and some of the cities appeared to be partially abandoned. The dying zones grow larger every month, Zara said sadly, pointing to the dark areas. Soon, they will reach the capital city where Father lives. King Nerian's palace was incredible, a living structure made from giant coral formations that pulsed with soft light. But Jake could tell the king was under enormous stress. He looked older than Zara had described, and his usually bright purple eyes seemed faded with worry. Daughter, the king said when they were brought before him, you have caused much trouble. With your disappearance, Prince Krell grows more angry each day. Father, please listen. Zara said respectfully, Jake has knowledge that could save our oceans. Our bonding was meant to be, not just for love, but for the survival of our people. The king looked at Jake with curiosity and also suspicion. You are the surface dweller who claims to be bonded with my daughter. What makes you think you can succeed where our greatest scientists have failed? Jake took a deep breath and began explaining his research. He showed the king detailed plans for combining Earth's water purification techniques with Nerian's healing, coral technology. He explained how they could create floating restoration stations that would slowly heal the dying. Ocean zones. Your Majesty, Jake said earnestly, I know I'm just a human from a small planet, but I've dedicated my life to protecting oceans. If you give me a chance to prove these theories, I believe we can save Nerian's waters. The king listened carefully, asking intelligent questions that showed he understood the science. But before he could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the palace. Prince Krall approaches with his war fleet. Announced one of the royal guards. He demands Princess Zara be brought to him immediately. Through the palace's crystal windows, Jake could see massive black ships rising from the ocean depths. Prince Krall's vessels looked like mechanical sea monsters, covered in weapons and armor that seemed designed to destroy rather than create. I will not hide from him, Zara said bravely. Let Prince Krall come. He will learn that Zara belongs to no one but herself. Prince Krall was everything Jake had expected and worse. He was tall and muscular like Vexstar, but where the captain had wisdom in his eyes, the prince had only cruelty. His skin was darker than other Nerians, almost black, and his eyes glowed red instead of purple. Princess Zara, Prince Krall said with a voice like grinding metal, you will come with me now, or I will destroy this pathetic palace and everyone in it. I will not, Zara replied firmly. I am bonded to another, and by ancient law, you cannot force me to marry you. Prince Krall laughed nastily. Bonded to this weak surface creature? I challenge his right to claim you. Let him face me in combat, and we will see who is truly worthy. Jake felt his knees go weak. Prince Krall looked like he could crush him with one hand. But then he remembered something Vexstar had said during the trials, that Nerian culture valued wisdom and knowledge over brute force. I accept your challenge, Jake said, stepping forward. But I propose we settle this according to the oldest Nerian traditions, not through violence, but through a contest of ocean knowledge and healing wisdom. The king looked interested. Explain. This contest, surface dweller, each of us will attempt to heal a section of the dying ocean. Jake proposed. Whoever achieves better results proves their worthiness to be with Princess Zara. Prince Krall sneered. You think your surface world tricks can compete with Nerian power? I think, Jake said calmly, that someone who truly loves the oceans will always be stronger than someone who only wants to conquer them. The contest took place in one of the worst affected areas, where the water was so lifeless it felt cold and empty. Jake worked alongside Zara, combining his purification techniques with her coral healing abilities. They moved together like they'd been partners for years, each anticipating what the other needed. Prince Krall used raw energy blasts, trying to force life back into the dead water through power alone. At first, his section seemed to respond, glowing brighter and showing signs of improvement. But after several hours, the difference became clear. Jake and Zara's section wasn't just brighter, it was actually alive. Fish had returned, plants were growing, and the water itself felt warm and welcoming. Prince Krall's section had only temporary artificial light with no real life beneath it. Impossible. Prince Krall snarled. I'm the most powerful warrior in 3 star systems. But you don't understand the ocean, Jake said simply. You can't force something to heal. You have to work with it, nurture it, help it find its own strength. King Nerian was amazed by the results. In one day, you have achieved more healing than we have managed in months. How's this possible? Because Jake doesn't just know about oceans, Zara said proudly. He truly loves them. And when love combines with knowledge, anything is possible. Prince Krall left in fury, his war fleet retreating to their own territory. But his defeat meant more than just winning Zara's freedom. It proved that Jake's restoration techniques actually worked. Over the following months, Jake and Zara led teams of scientists from both worlds in healing Nerian's oceans. They set up exchange programs where Nerian researchers came to Earth to learn purification techniques, while human scientists studied healing coral on Nerian. The project was so successful that other alien civilizations began asking for help with their own Environmental problems. Jake found himself traveling between worlds as an ocean restoration specialist, while Zara served as an ambassador for interplanetary cooperation. "Did you ever imagine your life would turn out like this?" Zara asked one evening as they watched the sunset from their home base on Nerian. "Never in a million years," Jake laughed. "6 months ago, I was just a guy studying fish migration patterns. Now I'm married to an alien princess and helping save oceans on multiple planets." "And Jake regrets nothing?" Zara asked with a teasing smile. "Nothing at all," Jake said, pulling her close. "Saving you was the best mistake I ever made." Dr. Lisa had joined them on Nerian and was loving every minute of studying alien technology. The research station on Earth continued its work with new Nerian equipment that could heal damaged coral reefs in record time. As Jake and Zara watched the stars come out over the now healthy Nerian oceans, Jake reflected on how much had changed. He'd started out just trying to save someone from drowning, but ended up saving 2 entire worlds while finding the love of his life. Sometimes the best adventures begin with the simplest act of kindness.